Good morning, everybody from Crete. Yes, that is the view from our balcony, believe it or not. Welcome to day one in Crete. We got a little fit check here, a little pain and panic action today. You'll find out why I feel it's a little appropriate, but welcome to our space. Today we're going to a lost leper colony, and then you get another archaeological settlement. Then time in town for lunch, back here at the hotel to play in the water, and then evening dinner, and that's it. Today's a low-key day. Yesterday was pretty intense. It was a lot of travel, a long day. But we got here in the dark, so none of us have gotten to see this, so you're seeing it with the rest of us. So hopefully we have a great fun day. All right, here's the room tour, everybody. This is the room view from the balcony. Here is our balcony with some loungers, so we can enjoy this. And then here's the doors and our room. Yes, it's slept in because guess what? We slept last night. Pretty well, actually. We've got a nice set of credenza here with all of the amenities. So we've got our fridge, complimentary waters, by the way, coffee maker, tea kettle. We've got the cups, the coffee and tea stuffs, all replenished every day by housekeeping, bottle opener if anyone needs it, television. This little tablet here is the controls for a lot of things. It helps with accessing hotel information, room information, able to book reservations, be able to book spa treatments, water sports. We get to play in the water today, complimentary for our trip, and then of course the last part of the credenza are doors. Nice little lounge area here. Fun things with the lights and the panels. Next to each side bed is a panel for the lights, so you can control the whole entire room. These are side bed lights, personal reading lights. Fun thing, when you turn those on, there's a light under the bed, so you can illuminate the floor, which is kind of cool. Here is the thermostat for all of those who have to control the room temperature. Again, another light fixture. And then here's the hall, the grand hall, the entrance hall, the wonderful hall. You've got two huge closets. Tom's got his clothes in the other one. Complimentary umbrella here. This center one has drawers, extra linens, robes, complimentary slippers, of course the safe, and then we've got extra drawers here for things that you want to stow away. They do have this thing here is for mosquitoes. Evidently, we need to worry about that. And then last but not least is another closet. You can store your bags here. Fun little shoe rack underneath. And then of course, like I said, there's the closet. And a full-length mirror in this one. Hi everybody. This is what it looks like when you walk in. Over here to the left now is the bathroom. Tom's in there. It's got a full-size bath, a water room, basically. The shower is a whole water room. And then a dual sink vanity, a water closet. So all the things can happen in there. So this is the space, everybody. Welcome to ISLAND Porto on the island of Crete.
We're heading to ISLAND again, the town of ISLAND, and we're going to go now the little boat and continue on very calm waters.
Yeah.
So calm, we say it's like olive oil. That's what we say here in Greece. So calm, the sea, that is like olive oil. And are going to be on the island of Spinalonga. We mentioned a little bit yesterday about this area, that it was already inhabited from ancient times, and it was called Olus, the ancient town of Olus. Today the town is submerged because of a series of tremors in the area. There is a causeway that connects the main part of the island with the peninsula cross, and this peninsula is called Kolokitha, that means pumpkin. And then at the tip of that peninsula was originally the island of Spinalonga. So it was connected, that is, to the peninsula, but the Venetians later, in the 16th century, they blew it up in order to make the very tip of that peninsula an island, and that's the island of Spinalonga. In ancient times, the tip of this promontory was already fortified, and we have the remains of the classical fortifications, because later we're going to sail around the island and we can see all the fortifications of this place. So from the 5th century BC fortifications, and later from the Venetian period. So Olus was later, and the whole area occupied by the Arabs, and after the Arabs left, then we had the Venetians, and after the Venetians we had the Turks, and now we don't have anybody, thanks God. Everybody tried to occupy many parts of Greece and the whole of Greece because of the climate, the location. Location is number one, you know, and the fertility of the land. So we are blessed to be in this part of the world as location. So from ancient times in this area they had salt pans. You know, the salt is very important commodity, was very important commodity in the medieval times, from ancient times and later in the medieval times, because that's how they could preserve the food. Remember we mentioned in our Crotiri that from 4,000 years ago they used to preserve the food, the meat and the fish with salt, okay, in order to eat it. They didn't have refrigeration, so salt was a very important commodity. And by the way, you know that the English word for salary originates from the word salt. Okay, people were paid in salt because that was very important commodity, more than money. So the Venetians, after the Fourth Crusade, they had occupied, after 1204 AD, they had occupied this area and Cyprus, and they had established salt pans in Cyprus. But the Turks occupied the island, and they made them go. That's when they came over here in this part of Crete and established more salt pans. And we still have the remains of the salt pans, of course. The other side of the island has another very important port. Here, of course, we have Elunda, and on the other side we have Souda. So these two very important ports were occupied by the Venetians, and they had to keep it at all costs. Eventually, after many wars against the Ottomans 1715 eventually occupied this part as well. We're going to see the ground plan of the island of Spinalonga, and we can mention about the fortifications over there and when they were built. So we are in Elunda. It's a corruption of the name Olus, ancient Olus, we call it now Elunda, and the name Spinalonga is also a corruption of the name of the word to Elunda. To Elunda, Stin Elunda, Stin Olunda, Spinalonga. Okay. The Venetians have an island in Venice, Venice, called Giudecca, which originally was called Spinalonga. That means long thorn. So because the name was similar to them, that's why they gave this name to this place. Okay? Spinalonga. That means long thorn. The official name of the islet where we're going is Calydon. But today The local people call it the island, Nisi. That is an island without a name. We're going to explain about that later. Here you can see with the daylight the central square of Velunda. This is the place on the left where we have the taxis. The taxis are always black Mercedes, brand new black Mercedes. And they have a fixed price, 13 euros, one way, either from the hotel to here or from here to the hotel. We have the restaurant right in the water. It's called Vrito Martis. The name Vrito Martis, the name of a very old Cretan divinity, Vrito Martis. Oh, there's a small kind of farmer's market in front of us. Because tomorrow is a holiday. This was supposed to be tomorrow. That's why we don't see it. Yeah, tak samo jest You can see all the local products in front of us. As tomorrow, we mentioned it's a bank holiday, it's a major holiday tomorrow. It's the third most important religious feast for Greece after Christmas and Easter. Okay? 15th of August, Dormition of Virgin Mary. So nothing works. Nothing.
Will there be a celebration in town, or how do you guys?
The church. People go to the church in the morning, like right now, from 7:30 to 10:30. That's the major celebration because everybody goes there to the church. And we get a piece of blessed bread from the hand of the priest. People do not have breakfast in the morning in order to be able to receive the bread from the hand of the priest, and then after the end of the mass go to the cafes. It's time to socialize, and that's when they can have coffee and something to eat. The beach of Lunda is over here to the right. It's very similar to our hotel. Soft, sandy beach, shallow waters over here. That's why we mentioned we have the salt pans. And people swim very early in the morning. The island is in the distance to your right. We're in the distance right behind this ferry. Many times we had sightings of sea turtles here in these waters. And it's this time of the year that they actually appear in order to lay the eggs nearby. So we're getting off. Please take all your things.
to the leper colony. So to summarize what she was saying, that this was a leper colony for a really long time, closed in 1956, and it was a thriving town because, you know, leprosy, there's a lot of unknown about it, but the folks were able to live here. The government gave them a subsidy, and they were able to have money to survive. Their families would come and set up a bazaar. They were able to get food and clothes and supplies and needs. They were even able to figure out how to grow their own foods. But the restoration of the town shows how they wanted to, like, life was important, and they vibrant colors. Fun thing about the Second World War, this island was used as decoy to trick the Germans about where the Allies were going to land. They tricked the Germans to say it was in Crete, based on this island, and it was actually Normandy. When it was abandoned, the folks started to come in and getting the wood, because wood is a prime commodity. So things began to fall. So when the restoration happened, they had to do a lot of fortification because of the wood pieces being gone. Here is the bakery where they got bread. These are the cisterns that collected the rainwater, and then they had nurses who were washing the clothes because they couldn't retouch anything that was already cleaned. So they couldn't even wash their own clothes. They had to have somebody else wash their clothes to then bring it back because of all of the things. We're heading into the church now. It's a Greek Orthodox church. Look how pretty these are. All in total, this colony had about 1,500 people living on it. And this church where they had weddings and funerals and church mass every Sunday. And so it was a thriving community, even though everybody who lived here has leprosy. As we continue forward, these are the houses, and there are 200 houses total. All of the houses are set up where the kitchen and the bathrooms are set up outside, and then the front courtyard, and then you go into the house. So they were not part of the living space, they were always outside. Cisterns to collect the rainwater, and then the wastewater went down into the sea. So there was a main gate of the Venetian period, which we're going to head up to now.
Nope, never.
in the history of anything. So this was very enlightening. And that you think like 1956 is so modern
Yeah,
that this place was still a colony in 1956.
that's crazy.
Thank goodness for penicillin, you know? Hi, buddy. Hi, kitty. Hi. Hi. More of the kitties. Have a half an hour to get there.
It's actually like that easy.
Cool.
That's
I know. Yeah. This is the fortification walls where they guarded the town. I don't know if it was heard earlier, but this is a man-made land. It's not natural. And the Venetians actually made it by blasting rock from the island across the way to make this island. Here's another view of the fortress. So we're continuing. We're actually walking the perimeter of the whole entire fortress in town. They say it takes, if you just do it in one loop, 15 minutes to walk around the entire island. Islet. It's not really an island. So that's what we're doing. I'm getting some really, look at, there's the Aegean Sea. Mary was telling us about this turret. This is one of the turrets that marks, there's 4 of them. I think it's directional, but the 2 gates and then the turrets. I guess you could scale all the way up to there. We're not going to. But this is, we've made it all the way around. Oh, here's the cemetery. So what Mary was telling us is that all of the colonists who passed away were put in tombs covered in cement and just kind of buried. Nobody told them that the cemetery was here. But here they are. And then this plaque was dedicated in 2013. But these are all of the remains of the folks who passed away here were put here. When they closed the colony in 1956, the priest had to stay an extra 6 years beyond that. He was the last person to leave because in Greek Orthodox tradition, the priest has to stay and keep the memories here until 6 years after death. These are the walls of the Greek period. So they're the bigger walls. So 5th century BC is when these were built.